This video is over station 6. In problem 1, I'm going to show you two different ways to do this problem. First of all, I'm going to do the problem where I multiply each side by 42. And let me change the size of my line first. So each side I'm going to multiply by 42. The issue I have with multiplying by 42 first is that a lot of students will only multiply the 42 by the x over 42 instead of multiplying it by both the x over 42 and the negative 18. And I think that really stems from how we add something to both sides and it looks like we're only adding it to one piece because those are like terms and we combine them. But anyways, I'll show you how to multiply by 42 and then I'll show you the other method. So when you multiply by 42 over here, we're going to end up with 42 over 1 multiplied by x over 42. And then we're also going to have 42 times a negative 18. So we have 42 times negative 18. And then on the other side, we have 15 times the 42. On the left side, the 42 multiplied by the x is equal to 42x. And then in the denominator, 1 times 42 gives us 42. So the 42 times the negative 18 is the negative 756, and then 15 times 42 gives you 630. So then from here, we go ahead and we do the same thing to both sides. We're going to move the 756 to the right side. So 630, we add to that 756. 0 plus 6 we get 6, 5 plus 3 we get 8, 6 plus 7 we get 13, so 1,386. And then on the left side we're left with just x because these cancel, this equals 1, so we have 1x. And these cancel because negative 756 plus 756 equals 0. So x is equal to 1,386. That's one way you can do this. In class, I showed you that it's a good idea to put your box around the x over 42 and leave that alone until you get rid of this negative 18. So I'm going to add 18 to both sides to maintain equality. And on the left side, negative 18 plus 18 gives you 0, so we're left with just the x over 42. And then on the other side, we take 15 and we add 18 and we get 33. And then the final step here is to multiply each side by 42 because x divided by 42 is what we have originally, and the inverse operation is multiplication. And you'll see that when you multiply 42 by 33, you're going to get the same thing that we got when we did the problem the other way. 1,386. And over here, 42 divided by 42 equals 1, so we're left with 1x. So either way you do it, you're going to get 1,386. You may choose to do it either way, but I think that this second way to do it is going to be a way to do it where you make fewer mistakes. So for the rest of the problems, I'm going to do every problem that way. I'm going to leave this part alone, and then I'm going to get rid of this 4 using inverse operations. So I'm going to move it over to the other side where it has its like term. 30 minus 4, we're left with 26. And then on the right side, we're left with negative x over 9. and negative x is being divided by 9, so the inverse operation would be multiplication. So we're going to multiply the right side by 9, and then we're also going to multiply the left side by 9. 9 times 26 gives us 234. And then on this right side, we're left with a negative x. A lot of people are leaving this as negative x, and that's not correct. We need to get rid of the negative symbol to really have x alone. And the coefficient here is really a -1. We don't write the 1 normally because it's not necessary. But to just show you what we do to get that x alone, I divide each side by -1. And we get a result of -234. So that's the answer you should have gotten for this problem. So x equals -234. And then now number 3, this is really simple. All we have to get rid of is this -12 that's keeping the x from being alone. Or you could think of it as -1/12. The inverse of -1/12 is -12/1. And those cancel and we're left with just 1x. On the right side, we're going to also multiply this by a -12, and we're going to write it in the form of a fraction since we're multiplying it by 7/8, which is a fraction. And we're going to do some cross canceling here. The 8 and the 12 are both divisible by 4, and we'll call this a -12. So -12 divided by 4 is equal to -3. And then over here, 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. So we multiply across now. 7 times the -3 is going to give us -21. And then in the denominator, 2 times 1 is going to give us 2. And 21 is not divisible by 2 because it does not end in an even number. So this is your final answer. This is as simple as it gets. And then we can also think about what this would look like as a mixed number. So we would get 10, and then 10 times 2 is 20, so we're left with a remainder of 1/2. So as a mixed number, this would be -10 and 1/2. Problem 4. We put a box around our -x divided by 2, and we take care of the 100 first. We subtract 100 from each side. And on the left side, 100 minus 100 is 0, and we're left with -x over 2. And then on the right side, 50 minus 100 equals -50. And then we multiply each side by 2. Because -x is being divided by 2, the inverse operation is multiplication. When you multiply -50 by 2, we get -100. And then on the right side, we're left with a -x, which is really a -1x. The coefficient is a -1 when you have a -x. -1 divided by -1 is 1. So we're left with x on the left side, and on the right side we get 100. So your answer to this problem is a positive 100. Right, now number 5, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move the variables to one side, and we're going to move the constants to the other. And as I'm looking at our time, we're going to run out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and put this number 5 on the next video.